Winds of change are blowing across the African continent. Peace is desperately needed for a new Africa to be built. What does a new Africa mean? It means development. I believe that this event is the first step towards the peace that Africa needs. Africa is the continent of the future, and that future begins today. What kind of new hope and vision do these people want for Africa? What kind of new hope and vision do these people want for Africa? From early in the morning, people have been crowding into the Abdou Diouf International Conference Center, located in Dakar, the capital of Senegal. People of all walks of life, including politicians, religious leaders, and tribal chiefs, wearing their traditional attire, crowded into the venue for this event. I spent many months preparing to attend this event. This is the first time I have attended a conference like this to discuss world peace. Here in Africa, we also have many meetings with heads of state and government officials to advocate for a peaceful world. However, the 2018 Africa Summit is different from those meetings because it is a gathering of all people.
This summit has been very, very important to us as religious leaders and also as the people of Africa as a whole, because peace is a very fundamental issue in the life of people.
The International Center garnered a tremendous amount of attention and participation from the entire African continent. A total of 1,200 Africans, including Senegal President Macky Sall, 20 current presidents and acting presidents, 11 former presidents and prime ministers, 35 national ministers, and countless parliamentarians, religious leaders, tribal chiefs, and youth leaders attended the event. Senegal President Macky Sall responded to this message with a declaration of his support for a new Africa. I believe that the theme of this event, New Africa, Interdependence, Co-prosperity, and Universal Values, was very wonderful. I believe in a new Africa. I believe in a prosperous Africa. The audience applauded in response to this conviction and determination to work toward a new Africa. The theme of this conference is incredible. Nothing is more important than peace. We can't buy peace with money. We can't measure the value of peace with money. Peace is absolutely necessary for our lives. In the following session, the Sema Ul Undong, or the New Community Movement, was introduced as an example of the direction that Africa can take. The session also promoted the utilization of Africa's strengths, particularly the coffee industry, to achieve self-sustained economic growth. We will work harder to establish a nation of democracy and sound government in order to usher in a brighter future for Africa. We can follow Korea's example of rising in the 1960s as a strong nation despite the obstacles. If we can walk a similar path as Korea, Africa will be able to develop and grow. This event was broadcast live through Senegal's national news station RTS and covered in newspapers and magazines all across the African continent. TV5 from France also covered the event and broadcasted it in Europe.
Their feeling towards Africa was always a feeling of trust and confidence and compassion and empathy for what Africa has been through. And yet their feeling was also that Africa can become the greatest continent in the world once Africa can walk along the direction that can bring harmony and unity and development.
As a result, The International Association of Parliamentarians for Peace was inaugurated in West, Central, and East Africa in 2016. Upon this foundation, the African Parliamentarians for Peace was also inaugurated during the Africa Summit on the continental level. This laid the groundwork for a continent divided by religion and language to come together as a united Africa. I think it is worth recognizing that the introduction of a bill that advocates for universal values is an incredible result of this gathering of many African politicians.
We will not throw here, we will not leave this what we have had here and go back to our country. We will also take it and go and enlighten them so that they can get the idea to avoid violence, extremisms, child abuse, so many things. I've discussed so many things.
The Interreligious Association for Peace and Development, which was inaugurated last year to resolve religious conflict and promote peace, was also inaugurated in Africa. It serves as a mediator between groups of deep-seated religious conflict and terrorism to help guide them toward a new Africa. Here at this conference, but we need everyone to unite on bringing its realization. As a way of keeping pace with this effort, I am thinking of creating a peace plaza in my village when I return. Then people will be able to gather at the Peace Plaza to discuss peace. There is no development without peace, and there is no peace without development. Through the Dakar Peace Declaration, the 2018 African Summit rediscovered the value and potential of Africa.